It's a beautiful evening. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got a beautiful cigar. And we're going to try and make the garden beautiful as well. It's very important to light a cigar when I go into the garden because it helps cover over the smell of the compost tea I make.
First we're gonna weed, and then we're gonna plant these green onions, and we just got these from the grocery, so we're gonna hope that they take and make more onions for us. Well, everything needs a good weeding. I think first decide where do we want to put the onions, and we'll start weeding that bed. So,
Yeah, I suppose we've got to do these two. Anyways, I know there's some carrots hiding back there in the corner. We had a really bad germination rate on some of the carrots, and then big patches of them came up, and then later they were destroyed by some sort of insects. Same thing happened with the beets. These were nice rows of beets.
And the spinach. We honestly, you can't tell, but we planted spinach and there is no spinach to show for it. We're, in a new location, new climate, new everything, new soil structure. So we're learning a lot of things over, for a new area. So we have the onions. I'm going to put them in. The bed is close enough to being ready. It's not perfect, but I think I can cultivate in between the onions and keep the weeds knocked back, and the onions will be all right, provided they'll actually grow well for us. So we'll see.
My wife is working on the onions. I'm gonna make some steaks for the yams that I put in. They are Lisbon Yams, and I stuck some in the ground and they've been coming up and they've been just kind of crawling all over the tomatoes and everything else, so they need some support. So I'm gonna give them some support. I figure I'm just gonna send them up on the fence and let them go. This one's already found its way to the fence. Ah, stay there. Tie that one up. The great thing about cigars, unlike that dirty habit cigarettes, you can just bury them in the garden when you're done. Feed the soil. That's natural living. This ear of corn here is ready enough that I'm going to open it up. We've been losing a lot of them to some sort of a rot, and I think it may be because it's so wet here. It's been raining a lot. We'll open this and see if it looks good. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Look at the big cob on this thing. This is Missouri pipe corn. And we'll dry this baby out, save the seeds, and then hopefully make a pipe out of the cob. Which would be pretty cool. Our heirloom purple beans here from Baker Creek Seeds. It's a variety from 1930. I believe it was discovered in Missouri. Are pretty much tapped out. There's still a few beans here and there, but they're not going to produce much more. They're starting to bloom again, but usually they don't make much after that initial burst of beans. And we've already saved a lot of seeds from them, which was the whole point of this little bed. Was we planted all the beans that we had just to save seeds, and we ate very few of them except for a few that the children begged from us. So the beans need to be taken out, and I'm going to pull this trellis and we'll plant something else in here. And my wife reminded me that these beans here, you know, they all fix nitrogen. So instead of just yanking them out and pulling up the nitrogen nodules in the roots, we can just cut them off at ground level and then turn around and pull the vines off and leave the roots in the ground to decompose to actually feed the next crop. So it's a way of composting right in place and letting it improve the soil rather than pulling those roots out when we do it. So I'm going to cut them off and then we'll pull the whole thing out. Take a look at these. Just so you can see, I'm pulling this one up to demonstrate. You see these little bumps? These little nodules are the nitrogen fixing nodules. And if you remember George Washington Carver planting peanuts, peanuts do the same thing. They make these little nodules, which are colonies of bacteria that have a lot of nitrogen fixing ability. They actually take atmospheric nitrogen and turn it into a form that the plants can use. So that's why we're cutting them off. We're going to leave all that in the ground. Not bad, just a little bit of raking and cleaning up here and it'll be ready to plant again with something else. We'll rotate another plant through. I could have just turned back around and planted beans again because I have more beans that would love to grow in this trellis, but it's not a good idea to plant the same plant over and over again in the same space. So we'll find something else to put in here and then we'll put another trellis up in the future and put more beans here because I like the beans here. It's easy to pick them from both sides. We did pretty good for one evening. We got some beds weeded, got the yams staked, Rachel got some green onions in, took the beans down, checked on the corn, and Rachel is getting eaten by mosquitoes, and she's not a big fan of horrible tropical viruses, so I think we're pretty much done for tonight. Be sure to like, subscribe, visit us on the web at thesurvivalgardener.com, and until next time,
keep growing.
out there.